under the sycamore tree, the dark trees that blow, baby, in the dark trees that blow, and I'll be
And welcome to this week's edition of Twin Peaks Unwrapped. I'm your host, Bryon Kazoskin. Beside me, as always,
Ben Durant.
Ben, how are you?
I'm great. What's going on? We got a second show this week?
We got a second show. Ben, you did a bang-up job.
Oh, we did. We did great.
Well, we had John Thorne on, and then you got
to interview Bob Angles.
How
the
cool is
co-writer of Firewalk with Me. That was really cool.
You did a great job.
Yeah, we had to do that to celebrate the 25th anniversary of Firewalk with Me. That came out Monday. And here we are at the end of the week, and we get into part 16, which is No Knock, No Doorbell, which aired on August 27th, 2017.
and this was the episode of Major Moments. It's such a shame that it had to happen this close to the end of the series.
I called it weeks ago. He's going to wake up.
You've been calling it every week. I think we all have, but you especially, Ben. So you got what you wished for.
Yeah, it took long enough.
Yeah. So this
Finally.
This episode starts off. We're gonna kind of hit the major beats. I got a lot of questions. I got a lot of theories. I think a lot of people do, and I think this episode just encapsulates this whole this slow build up, and now we're ready to just no answers. We're just give it to us already.
We're running out of time. There's only 2 hours left.
I know. So this episode starts off. We got Richard and Mr. C. I guess I was kind of hoping for a father-son hijinks, but we didn't really get that.
It's funny because Mr. C is kind of like, oh, get in the car and we'll go over it. And I did expect them to have a whole conversation in the car.
Deleted scenes, maybe.
Maybe deleted scenes, or this is just Lynch as usual playing with us that we expect
to see it.
See so much, and it's very subtle, and it basically kind of wraps it up at the very end there.
Yeah. So this scene, we find out he has three coordinates.
Right.
Two of them are the same.
So he got Ray. He got coordinates from.
Uh-huh.
He got coordinates from Diane, and he got it from Jeffries.
Yes. So 2 out of the 3, he says to Richard, well, what would you do? You take the 2 that are the same, and that's probably it. Well, in this case,
you're a bright young man.
He sure is.
He's very bright.
I didn't get that, but he turns into
a very bright man.
He turns into a bright man. So he sends Richard on this. They get to the area, and he goes, well, take this, and I think it's up on this rock. You'll find it.
I do like that. I mean, I was kind of like, how does he convince him? And he basically said, you're 25 years my senior, but he's basically saying, I'm old, and you're much younger, and you can go up that rock.
But we've seen Mr. C handle himself, so this was just
he can do arm wrestling. He can take on the world. Yeah.
This was Mr. C just playing it up a little bit because he knows this could be a trap. And hey, what better person to send into the trap than your own son?
Yes. We don't know this, though, until the end.
But he says it.
He says it right at the end.
Goodbye, my son.
Goodbye, my son.
It was really creepy.
Yes. And then Jerry Horn actually comes out of the woods. Has he been in the woods for a week?
Yeah. I called this. Now, I do remember saying a prediction that Jerry Horn would witness something where he would be on drugs and it would really freak him out. And we got something. He witnesses it, but he's holding the binoculars the reverse way.
Right.
And he's like, oh, darn these binoculars. And he can't figure them out. And he's seeing everything far away.
And the craziest thing is, he is the uncle to Richard. I mean, isn't that crazy? That's his family member.
I know. But he probably couldn't see the faces because it was so far away.
Yeah. And because he's holding it the wrong way.
Yeah. So Richard walks up to the rock, and I was not expecting this. He literally turns into like a firecracker. Like his whole body was just like burning. It was kind of a cool effect. One of my favorite effects of this whole show was that it was just so well done and it was so cool. And do you think? Okay, here's my two questions for you, Ben. Do you think Richard is dead, or do you think Richard is now in the lodge? I mean.
Well, with this show, I mean, anybody could come back, right? I mean,
it seemed like a trap. We've never seen something like this before. This is why I asked, because we didn't see him land in the lodge. Do we assume he did, or do we assume his body? What if he was manufactured?
Yeah, he was manufactured by Audrey and Mr. C. I mean,
no, but not in a sexual way.
Yeah.
Whoa, hey, this just crossed my mind. So what if Mr. C used his hair and Audrey's hair, DNA of whatever, and made a kid with both their DNAs, and Audrey never gave birth?
Yeah, that'd be interesting.
But she was in a coma, and she thinks it's her son.
I want to say, I can't remember if it was on YouTube or what, but we've had a couple of people come out and say...
I will respond to that later in the show. Yes, it's in community feedback. I will be talking about that.
But I also want to say, I think it doesn't hurt for us... First I thought we'd do it at the end, but why don't we just do it now throughout the show, that we have questions we want answered...
Yeah.
In the next part, or the next parts.
Yes.
And I guess I'll throw this out there that I feel like the Richard Linda needs to be answered. So there's about the beginning. There was the fireman and Cooper, and they talk about Richard and Linda, and then the two birds with one stone.
Yes, which we still are trying to figure out.
Well, interesting that Richard is on a stone and he is killed by the lightning there. So is that? And I think John Thorne actually brought this up too. So does Linda have to be at the same stone to get killed? I don't know. Ooh. So I do think that's a question that needs to be answered. So when you're saying about how is Richard manufacturer, is he dead or is he gone? I feel like he might need to be back again for the next part to connect Linda. Maybe he doesn't, but we still haven't heard enough about Linda. We only heard Linda mentioned once.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I think that I'm still feel like there's answers to be told about that on the next part.
I do agree. I do like the theory of Richard was manufactured and out of the two pieces of DNA. And
I don't think everything needs to be supernatural, though. I think there's nothing wrong with Audrey being naturally giving birth.
I don't know, though.
Yeah.
I don't know. I don't know. It seems like this season has really taken the super... I wouldn't even call it supernatural.
I love that. Yeah.
I wouldn't even call it supernatural. I just call it this world of Lynch. It's a different world. I don't even call it supernatural in this show. I call it... It's just like different. It doesn't have a name yet for what we're experiencing in Twin Peaks.
Yeah.
I don't think. For me, anyway. I feel like it's different. But,
And I do love that Jerry Horn thinks that maybe he killed...
by looking at him with the binoculars.
Binoculars.
Like, he thought maybe they burned him.
Goodbye, my son. So that does confirm...
Yes.
I think we all connected it for a while there, but it confirms that Mr. C is the father of Richard.
So, I'm going to go out and say I think Richard was made somehow, but not by birth. And
I'm going to go the other way. I definitely feel like it was natural. I feel like Mr. C is an awful person, and we're learning that. I mean, we've already known he was an awful person, but we're talking about rape, and I could definitely see him raping Audrey as well. Yeah. And we talk about him going to the hospital while she was... in a coma.
Yeah, I'll say the opposite and say I think he got a piece of DNA from her.
Tune in next week.
We'll tune in next week. We'll find out. Hopefully.
Yeah. And so Mr. C has these coordinates, or no, he contacts Diane, and it won't send right away. So I think it takes 12 hours before she gets it. So it makes me think: is Mr. C closer to his destination, or it?
He sent it at 2 a.m.
Yeah.
And she got it like at...
Was it 4?
It was like 4 or 5 o'clock.
Okay. So
because it's at 16. It was military time on her phone for some reason. Yeah.
But that's good. Like, half a day over a half a day before she actually received it. So it makes me think, where is Mr. C? And I feel like Mr. C doesn't seem like he's that far away from Twin Peaks as it is. I mean, if Jerry is coming out of the woods, I mean, he's
there.
Right. They're miles away.
Yeah, you're right. I mean, I think seeing Jerry indicates that Mr. C's very close to finding the coordinates. I think the other coordinates is going to be Sarah Palmer's house. I don't know. What do you think? What do you think the right coordinates are? I think
the sheriff's station.
Where what's her face is? Nadu?
Yeah, I mean, we're basically, when we get to that scene where Diane basically mentions the sheriff's station, I think they're connecting the coordinates with the sheriff's station.
Okay,
that's
yeah,
what I'm
yeah.
interpreting. I feel like that comes up a couple times.
Yeah, you're right. So
we are near Dougie's house.
Yeah, we have. I'm running through my notes here.
We have Chantel.
Yeah, Hutch and Chantel, which to me come across as the Quentin Tarantino characters.
Definitely. And I feel like that's what they've been all series. The whole series, they've kind of had that feel where they're always going back and,
talking about weird things.
Yeah.
And
you think of Pulp Fiction where they're talking about, like, I don't put mayonnaise on my burgers or something like that, but they talk about just random kind of just general stuff that, like, the Mormons and this and that. So they're a fun act.
Yeah. I mean, we can get right into their whole thing. They're waiting outside in a van at the Joneses' house. But the Joneses aren't home because we find out later on that Cooper is in a coma from his accident last episode. So they're just sitting there waiting, and the FBI shows up.
Yes.
And I think it's Willie.
Wilson.
Wilson.
Maybe that's his short name. Maybe that's what we call Wilson for short.
So nobody's home. So the guy says, Wilson.
Well, before you get there, it's interesting that this, I know the title, and somebody else mentions the title about no knock, no ring, or something like that, the title is. It's interesting the FBI does the same thing. They knock on the door, and then they ring the doorbell. But to me, I'm stretching, but it's interesting that you see them do that, and then we have a character talking about other people who invade their space and take over.
Yeah.
But yeah, right. So the FBI's here, and then soon we'll have another character show up. I mean, it's
So
we have the Mitchum brothers.
The Mitchum brothers show up because they're gonna stock the house with food, and so they're waiting. You have two people waiting. Mitchum brothers show up. The hitmen are like, "What is it, a circus? What's going on here?" And then this neighbor shows up. Yeah, with it. I think some people said Polish accent, or he shows up and he's like, "Your van's in front of my driveway," and they're like, "No, it's not," and they start swearing. I mean, they start swearing at him. They're blowing their cover here.
Yes.
Now, here's what I like about this.
I think Chantel was probably hungry and she's ready to torture somebody.
Yes, you're right. She didn't have food.
And she's been itching to just torture somebody.
And she's eating a lot. She's constantly eating those.
She loves her.
That's a good question. What was with this?
That's just her thing. That's her
eating the chips. But Mr. C, it is her thing. Her calling card is eating these Cheez-Its or
we all have our
Cheetos.
Our thing. But then they were out. So I mean, to not have any more bags left, I'm telling you, she's probably grumpy and hungry and wants to torture somebody.
She's hangry. But this poor guy shows up and he's just like, "Well, I'll move your van."
I'm gonna say this guy is not a poor guy.
Huh? I liked him.
I liked him, but we were talking before we started the show. I think he is involved with somebody. I don't think he's just to have that kind of a gun. I mean, I don't feel like he's just your regular neighbor. I think he either worked with Mr. Todd or he worked with Mr. C or.
Ooh.
I feel like he's somebody important, and I feel like, and the fact that he's not dead and that the FBI has arrested him, I think we're going to learn more about him, that he's somehow connected to this.
But now, okay, so that's two birds, one stone, theoretically, because he killed two henchmen. But if he was across the street staking out the Joneses, he just got arrested.
Right. I mean, I think we might find out more about him.
Or we'll never see him again.
Right.
But I like the idea.
Because Mr. Todd, I meant to research this, but Mr. Todd, I thought, had another person that was going to go and take care of cleanup stuff if Anthony didn't follow through on it.
There was the
I don't know if they ever named him, but I thought there was going to be another person that was going to clean up if Anthony couldn't get the job done. And Mr. Todd was about to do that, and he gets Roger in, and then all of a sudden Chantel comes and kills them both. So it's either that or he's with Mr. C or he's with somebody. But to have that type of a gun, automatic weapon like that, it's like that doesn't seem like your regular neighbor. But we live in a very stressful time.
Stressful times. Don't forget that little kid with the gun with his parents.
Oh yeah, that other
So
right.
anything can happen.
Yeah, anything can happen.
So they go out in a ball of fury, though. I mean, it was very Pulp Fiction-esque.
Yes.
Reservoir Dogs, where you have very two cunning, smart people accidentally get themselves killed by not even who they're going after.
The funny thing is, I was totally expecting that we were gonna have a three showdowns. I thought it was gonna be Mitchum brothers and
Mexican standoff.
Yeah, right. I thought that was gonna happen, and it was kind of exciting that it didn't happen that way. And it was also kind of cool. I thought that they were gonna go after Dougie, and we were gonna have some kind of big fight against. Cooper was going to wake up and he was going to take on everybody. But in a way, it's kind of exciting that you have him out in a sleep, and this stuff is just kind of working itself out.
Yes. And what if this guy was actually a warrior of the lodge? What if Mike put this guy in place?
I've heard that theory too. I've heard that. I mean, I've been hearing that he could be somehow related to the spirit world.
Maybe. I mean, I wouldn't doubt it right now.
And so my only other theory about this Polish accountant, which you kind of told me is probably I'm totally wrong. There's that whole picture with Mr. C and the glass box, and he's talking to somebody who's bald and he has glasses.
Yeah.
I said, could that be the same guy? No.
It was
he's thinner.
It was like a generic scientist guy.
Yeah. But anyways, that was a great standoff, and it was kind of cool that the Mitchum brothers kind of watched this, and it's like, let's get back in the house and get out of here.
Wait, the humorous part is you have two gangsters, hardened criminals, watching it, and they go, they're scared.
Put away your gun.
Put away. Like, people, it's stressful times. And it was so good. It was so good. You're watching two hardened criminals who have hearts of gold.
Hearts of gold.
Watch this all go down, and they leave scot-free. Like, no problems.
That's awesome.
And I feel like Dougie's good luck has rubbed off on them.
Yes, I totally agree. So we get to the hospital, and...
okay. When you first saw Cooper in the hospital, did you see, I said to myself, fuck, we got to go through another episode of him in the hospital. Did you think that? I did.
I can't remember exactly what Janie E. said, but she said something like, they don't always come out of this right away, or something like that. It's like, you got to be shitting me.
Yes.
Am I going to spend a whole nother
I thought it was going to be a whole episode.
Where he's going to be sleeping, or he's going to be out of it and stuff. It's like, you can't be serious. I swear they were playing with this again, where they're like, yeah, he's out of it and stuff, and they don't always wake up right away. And it's like, come on.
So our theory was wrong last week. We said, would he just go back into the lodge and the lodge would spit him out in Twin Peaks?
Right.
But this is like even more of an adventure. It's like you're living, you're going to wake up, and you have to take a plane.
Well, and what I love about it, though, is, we had to go through this whole journey. And it's like, well, what is the point of him being with Janie E? And what's the point of him then meeting the Mitchum brothers? And then they kind of show the point that he's kind of in some way made this friendships, and that they're going to be there to help him. Like, the Mitchum brothers are able to, they have a plane. They're
going with him.
Yeah. Even though they're like, we're not really liked by the law enforcement. It's like, that's where we get the heart of gold and stuff. But the idea that because he was a good person, even when he's Dougie, who's kind of out of it, somehow he's able to make these people that are able to help him get to what he needs to do. So I think I like it better than having to go to supernatural route. And I'm still sure we're going to get more supernatural stuff with Cooper. Yeah. But to be able to have this network of people. And then even like we get his boss there. It's like, I know you got a gun on you. Give me your gun. And
he gives it to him. Why not? And he gets his gun. He gets a suit. Everybody is like, we're going to help you. Yeah. And it was so touching to see the three of them. Oh, no, when he goes, I am the FBI. I said it. Like, I'm sure all of us repeated that dialogue before he said it. Like, you knew those lines were going to come out of his mouth. It was so good.
And Kyle MacLachlan's performance, like, he is Agent Cooper. Like, he's so different from Mr. C. He's so different from Dougie. And you can kind of feel like I'm A-okay. Check me out. I'm great. And like because you worry, but it's been 25 years. Can he still pull off Cooper? And he does it. It's as magical as it was 25 years ago.
25 years and 16 parts later, we get to see Cooper.
Oh.
They just made us wait even longer.
Yes.
It was really an awesome scene. I'm sure everybody watching Twin Peaks jumped up and screamed. I did. I was so excited. Like, I was like, finally.
Right.
Finally.
And he did have an exchange when he got up with Mike, the one-armed man there. They had a whole exchange.
Well, he goes, you didn't die.
You're awake.
You're awake.
Finally. And
100%.
Like the whole audience is
yes.
kind of like, yes. And it is something to be able to say 100%. Say there's no doubt that he's fully into it, and he knows what he's going on. He knows everybody from when he was Dougie. He seems like he knows more information than maybe even the audience here that we know.
Mm-hmm. Do you think when Mike was telling him way back in the beginning, don't die, I mean, I kind of feel like was basically, you need to figure out how to get out of this deep sleep.
Yes.
But in the process, don't die. And then he was in a coma. He was on death's doorstep. And he woke up.
Well, really, his way of not dying was he realized, you know what, maybe the only way I'm going to wake up is being electrocuted and stuff.
It will really zap him.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But then so here's something that we never heard of before, that where Cooper says, do you have the seed? Do you have the seed? And so this seed is
the
this
golden
ball that we've been calling. So it's interesting that, again, Cooper understands things. He understands that ball can bring life through manufacture. Yeah.
So he takes a thing of hair and he's like, you have a seed, and basically saying, I got out of it, make another Dougie that's going to take care of the family.
Right.
Did you get that?
I did, but it's funny because you and I were texting originally, and you were kind of like, "Oh, we'll get ahead." But at some point, Cooper's basically saying to the family, "I'm gonna go," but you're Dougie, and then he stops himself. I'll be back through that red door, and to me, that's like, yes, I've created another me to basically take care of the family.
So I feel like my prediction about will Dougie stay with the family? I feel like I get a half a point on that.
All right, I'll give you a half a point. Yeah.
Because he is.
Yeah,
he is so nice.
That's like saying Mr. C will take care of the family.
No, it's not, because it's going to be Dougie.
But Mr. C is part of Cooper.
At this point, is this world just going to be overrun by Coopers?
Yep, it's just going to be...
It's going to be multiplicity.
Yes.
All over again.
Oh, nice. So, yeah... I wonder if we should just jump there about that scene. There's that whole scene. I mean, eventually, Cooper gets to drive, and he's kind of taking control. And I love that Janie E, how excited she is, and she's even probably more sweat and bothered by him. And even when he's driving, it's like his son is like, "Oh, you're such a good driver," and Janie E's kind of like, "He is a good driver
because he never drove. He's
but
a stupor."
Right. So that's pretty funny. But they get to the casino.
Yeah.
And he pulls them aside and basically says he's leaving, and Janie E understands that that's not even her husband really, I think, but she still loves who he is.
Yeah.
Here's my fear, and I've been thinking about this. I'm really, really scared Cooper might die. Our Cooper is.
I thought the same thing today.
And I feel like that whole speech that he's giving to that family is a speech to the audience. It's to us, the fans. He's saying, "Hey, I gotta go. I gotta."
Well, here. I'll go with you on this.
Yeah.
Today I thought about it because, he's gonna make a seed for Dougie. That's where he's gonna live with that family.
You ever watch Star Trek? I mean,
he's gonna die. You're right. I think he's gonna
Star
die.
Trek Nemesis. It's one of the Star Trek movies, and Data has made it a clone of himself.
Yes.
And he in the end he dies, but somehow the new clone version of him is still with us. So it's kind of like we have it both ways. We lost the hero that we love, but somehow he goes on. And in life, that's kind of like us having children, right?
Yes.
We have children, and we will eventually die, but life goes on through our...
If this prediction comes true, it makes a lot of sense because Dougie would still have all the memories.
Yep.
Like Data. We know these manufactured people have memories because Diane, we learn, has memories.
Yes.
So if he is remade to be with Janie in the sun there. How cool is that? And I had the hunch too that he could die.
I hope not. I mean, part of me is kind of like, man, we went through this whole journey for him then. And
Yeah, but what a hero's journey.
You're right. It's a hero's journey. And then I was thinking, with the end music there with
Fallen. Was it Falling they were playing?
No. I'm sorry. Eddie Vedder. And he starts off, one of some of the lyrics is something about being on the cross and how do you get to heaven and stuff like that. It's like, oh my gosh, we're talking about basically the Christian sacrifice. And it's like, to me, that's like, are we talking about Cooper that he will sacrifice himself for the world?
He could.
And who knows? This could be a foreshadowing.
Cooper is the ultimate good.
Yes.
And it's the ultimate bad. The ultimate light, ultimate dark.
So,
Ben, I think we might have stumbled upon something. I
don't know.
I don't know either. We'll find out.
So yeah, he's taken off. The Mitchum brothers got the airport. They got the airplane, and they're gonna take off to.
They're gonna gas up the plane, and the Mitchum brothers are like, "Why is he talking so much? Oh, it must be side effects of glaucoma."
I love that.
That was so funny.
Yes.
I think a lot of people have been saying this, but we just want a Mitchum Brothers spin-off series. David Lynch doesn't even have to do it. It could just be Mark Frost, someone else, the Mitchum Brothers, the day in life of Mitchum Brothers.
They've come a long way. I mean, our first...
we didn't like him in the beginning.
In the appearance, they were punching people in the face. I mean, they're
assholes.
Yeah. And now they've got heart of gold.
They got a whole heart. Yeah, because I think Dougie Cooper... gave him that. I mean, he really surrounded himself with love, and he gave out this, I think, positive aura where everybody was just gravitated towards him in a good way.
Yes. He
changed Anthony's heart from wanting to kill him to, I'm so sorry.
It is something, and it is funny to look at that and maybe they're trying to say something about our whole world that sometimes if we care more about love and good, that we make friends and we actually build each other up. Whereas Mr. C is pure evil. He's got his evil people, and they're all getting killed off. When he comes
he's killing his own son.
And he's killing his own son. But when it comes down to it, Mr. C has nobody left, really. He had all these people working for him, and now he's kind of by himself, and maybe he'll have some woodsmen or something. But for the most part, he's kind of doing this on his own. And
you're right.
Is that the way to live your life? I don't know.
You made a great point. Mr. C is going to be a one-man army, and now we're going to have Cooper with a whole army.
Yes.
It's crazy. You're right. I mean, the scale has tipped,
right,
I think, in the good favor. But not only do we have Mr. C, though, we do have the experiment or mother or whatever have you on that side.
And Sarah.
We don't know where Sarah lands.
Right.
The Sarah land, and she had a white light coming out of her face. So I assume...
Not Sarah. Laura Palmer does. Sarah has the...
yes. Well, I consider her the mother of the experiment.
Fair enough.
You're right.
It's funny because we go back and forth.
So this scene was so intense with Diane.
Diane's at the bar, and she's told all from Mr. C. So I will say this. For weeks, I've been saying, maybe this is all... Maybe Diane really isn't talking to Mr. C. I wanted to believe...
But she was.
She was.
Yeah.
I wanted to believe that, I love Diane. I love the concept of Diane. How could she betray Cole and Albert, and how could she do that? I wanted to believe that this wasn't the case, but it comes down to, oh no, she's been working with Mr. C. She's probably she must be the only one that was giving the actual coordinates. So it was probably Jeffries and Ray that were giving the wrong coordinates. Yeah. And she all the time was working for that.
And she texted it to him.
Yeah. So she's told she's going to Cole and Albert and the Blue Rose Task Force.
She gets the happy face emoji
Yes.
Which Mr. C texts like most parents in America. I don't know. Obviously, this was a subtle clue. This was a subtle word to tell her what to do, because if they knew she was being tracked, you don't want to just come out and say, kill them, and just be like, oh,
And
happy.
at first I thought the all meant she didn't give all her coordinates, because she's kind of remembering, and then she gave more. So I thought that's what the message was, but then it seems to have another meaning. It has...
Yeah. So it's so cool. It was built. The tension was built up. They're playing the American Woman song again.
Right. David Lynch remix version.
It was so cool. And I thought Diane was going to open that door, guns blazing.
Yes.
I thought she was going to open that door and shoot. I thought this was going to be the end of Gordon Cole.
And I thought it was the end of Albert.
Yeah, I thought someone was gonna die. Didn't you?
Oh, for sure. For sure.
Yeah.
There's no question about it.
But
Instead, she sits down and she has a story to share. She finally talks about the whole time where Cooper came to see her. It was like 3 or 4 years after he went missing.
Yeah.
He did not knock. He did not ring the bell. He just came in. And it's interesting. She was so excited to see him. They kissed, and she says how they had kissed before, which again, it could go back to the
book,
the
right?
book, right?
Yeah,
the
yeah,
autobiography or the Diane, My Life, My Tapes, which I still thought that whole dinner with the way they're talking about the dinner and yeah, I really feel like that might have been the kiss where they had done it before, but.
yeah, it was kind of creepy.
Right, she because they kiss and right away she can say that's not Cooper. Like,
Yeah.
and she kind of brought that up when that whole face to face in the beginning of the
She
season
felt
here.
it.
She felt it's about the emotion and that there was definitely, and so she's afraid of him and Mr. C rapes her and like. I think I don't know if that was your worst fear. That was my worst fear for so
Yes.
long that's what was going to.
We all kind of said that in the beginning,
Yeah.
but
If-
yeah, I mean, he rapes her and then takes her to the convenience,
Right.
the gas station, which is the convenience store. And I think him raping her allowed him to grab some DNA to create this fake Diane.
Or she could just pulled her hair. Yeah, I mean, like.
That's, well,
right.
whatever,
Yeah,
whatever.
I know you said, yeah.
He was close enough to her to get something to replicate her and manufacture her.
And it's interesting. He really wanted to just get as much information about the FBI
Yes.
as he could.
That's all he cared about. And it was interesting, the scene, she reaches into her purse and we see that gun, and I'm like, oh God, she's going to take it out and shoot herself or shoot them. I thought she
sure.
was going to commit suicide right in front of them.
Yeah.
After telling this horrible story. But she ends up reaching it, and Albert and Tammy are quick on the draw, shoot back, and she disappears. And I was like, holy cow, this just went left turn.
I know. It's funny. I never saw this coming.
I didn't. I don't think anybody did. Did you? When Diane shows up in the red room, I think it's great. She gives out one more "fuck you," which was really awesome. And
Well, I want to say one more thing.
What?
Just about that whole smiley face that that Mr. C gives in a text. It's interesting because she talks about when she was afraid how Mr. C gave a smiley face. This is like their encounter they had years ago. So I almost kind of connected the two. That was
yeah,
that was
that's a good
Mr. C's
connection.
way of saying, yeah, I'm really happy to have these people get killed.
Yeah.
I felt like that was that
that's sickening.
Sickening.
And and even her clone, her what are they calling it now instead of a
Doppelganger? A Topa?
A Topa. She even that couldn't handle this. It was like overwhelming.
And what I love that this double does have all the memories, as we've learned, Mr. C, to have all those memories and to be able to share that and fighting against, like, she seems to be
Conflicted.
a slave to
Yeah.
Mr. C. Like, she has to do the will of what he wants.
Mm-hmm.
But at the same time, she has these memories, she has these feelings, and it was amazing performance by Laura Dern. I
Yeah.
mean, as always.
She's definitely conflicted about everything. She seems confused. She mentioned, she says she's at the
Wow. She says, I am at the sheriff's station.
does that mean it is Nadu Diane?
Well, people think so, right? Many
Yeah.
people are thinking that. I mean, it's close to an acronym that you could mix up the letters and almost make Diane.
It's interesting.
Have I shared on the show? I had this theory that Diane was Judy. That was one of my theories.
Yeah.
And then but think that she could be all three. I don't know.
Ooh, that's heavy. It's
Yeah.
crazy. I mean, so she goes in the red room. She turns into the seed. So we
Well, even before that, I love
Oh.
this thing about, like, you were manufactured. And Diane says back, I know. And
Yeah,
it's like,
yeah.
fuck you. Right?
Yeah, one
It's
last
like-
fuck you.
But it's kind of like, whereas, somebody like Dougie would be like, this is weird.
Yeah, yeah.
Like, she is strong, and she is kind of like, yeah, I know what I am. I've known what I am. And, like,
She's self-aware.
just fuck you on
Yeah,
this whole thing.
yeah,
Like,
yeah.
screw you, everybody.
Maybe that's why she just doesn't. She just she's getting pulled into this, and she doesn't even want to be part of anything.
Right. Yeah, I
She wants
bet
to be
you're
left
right.
alone.
Right. It does make a lot more sense from day one where Albert goes to see her at the bar and he's like, fuck you,
Yeah.
leave me alone and stuff. And
Here's my question about Diane, though. Do you think I was kind of relieved that we didn't meet the real Diane? The question is the real Diane alive? or is the real Diane?
I would think she was killed. I would think she would be killed, but you never know. But it's so funny how we were like, there was a whole debate on should we ever see Diane, and then we think we've seen her, and then to end this series and maybe not ever see the real Diane.
I like that.
It is kind of
It's
very
cool.
clever. Yeah.
Yes. Diane went from a record, not a record, went from a tape player to a person to a seed. She went right back to an unanimated object, so I like that a lot. And yeah, she's a tulpa. Tammy says she's a tulpa, like the Blue Rose case. So
And it's a great way to explain it, yeah.
But now they actually saw it in front of their eyes. Tammy saw it after hearing the story, and Albert saw it, and Gordon Cole saw it. So now they know what they have to do. They have to get to the bottom of this. They have to figure this out. This is too weird.
And I still don't know if they have all the information that it's. So
they only got 2 hours. They got to get the information. What do you think? I mean, what are they missing?
They got to get to the. Well, they got to get to the. I think they got to get to Twin Peaks Police Station, right? I mean, the fire's. Yeah.
Well, he did get the phone call from Truman that would give him some indication that he needs to go to Twin Peaks. I kind of feel they got to.
Yeah.
They got to go. I guess we're gonna go to the ending scene. Because we talked about everything. This is interesting. We go to the Roadhouse. Now, it's not Eddie Vedder introduced. They introduced Eddie Vedder by his real name.
So I didn't
which
know
was
that was
Edward Louis Servison.
I didn't realize that was his
real name. That is his real name.
Wow.
Coincidentally, Saturday night, I was with some friends, and a friend of mine, we were talking about Pearl Jam, out of the blue, and this person tells me, did you know Eddie Vedder's real name is Edward Louis Silverson? And I said, really? That's his real name?
That's so cool.
And the next day I'm watching Twin Peaks and they say the name. I go, why is that name from? Oh my God. That's weird. Weird that happened that same weekend. But I also find it weird that they introduced him by that name because what is going to unfold later on. He plays Out of Sand at the Roadhouse, which
we
is
had heard that we had known about this song for months, for a while.
About a month or so before the opening of the show started.
Something like that.
Yeah,
and
yeah,
I liked it. I mean, it's funny some people don't like this song. I thought it was
song.
a great song. I love the lyrics. I love his...
It makes it better that we saw in context of the show.
True.
Because, when you hear the song originally, your imagination goes wild. Like, what is this trying to tell us? Seeing it and hearing it during this scene really gave us something. Yeah. I think it made it more emotional for me, definitely.
And he did write this song just specifically for Twin Peaks, which to me is always exciting that you have something original.
And I like your connection with the whole Cooper, if he does have to sacrifice himself, is this song kind of lyrically telling a story that it could unfold next week.
And even if it's not, it's this whole journey of life and tragedy. And, you didn't get to live the life maybe you wanted to live because for so many years you were gone. 25 years you're gone in the Red Room and stuff. So it's a beautiful song. It really is a cool song. I can't wait to own it. I mean, like, I'm waiting for that soundtrack in a few weeks.
To drop, yes, very soon. So during this, Audrey and Charlie show up.
Yeah, she finally makes it to the Roadhouse.
Was this another part? You're like, finally.
Yes.
I was like, I really was like, oh God, thank God.
I know.
Let's close this chapter, please.
Yes, because it's not. I mean, I love Sherilyn Fenn. I think she has given an amazing performance, but I don't love this storyline.
We don't know where it's going.
Yes,
we have no payoff yet, and we're still. I'm gonna bring you through the emotions of Ben and myself here. I mean, after that plays. Audrey's theme starts, and I was like,
"No, first, I mean, so the announcer
Audrey's dance.
It's like, what? And then, but here's where I know something's not right. All of a sudden, the whole crowd just moves over, and it's like, this is not normal. Like they're not like we like to stop everything and just give it to the audience. It's like this is really bizarre. And so I knew something was up as soon as the crowd started moving for Audrey to give her dance, and it's like,
yeah, go on.
I know you have weird.
I do have weird feelings about this dance, but go on.
I liked it in the sense that like it's definitely playing back to
nostalgia.
Yeah, I know we were texting each other and you were saying how you felt it was awkward.
It was awkward. I felt awkward watching it because I didn't know where it was going.
Yeah.
And in the context of the show, before knowing what we're about to see, I was just like, I'm not feeling it. Like this feels weird. Like it
But
felt
if you
awkward.
were back 25 years ago, you would watch Audrey's, and she's like, I love coffee, just like Agent Cooper. And then it's like, oh, this music, and she gets up.
But that was adorable. This felt forced. It felt like she didn't feel comfortable. And because we had her on the show, we interviewed her. She does mention how she was not a big fan doing that dance.
She wasn't comfortable then. Well, part of the problem was this Lynch just threw it on her like without any notice, and I think that probably freaked her out. That like, hey, we wrote a song for you, and we want you just to dance. And it's like
she just felt weird.
Yeah, I think anybody who's kind of like, you're not going to tell me how to dance or anything. You just want me to do it. I think that I could totally understand how awkward that would be.
But I felt awkward watching this. I just didn't. I wasn't feeling it. I mean, I'm not saying it was bad, and I think it's cool. We got to hear her theme, and she danced, and it kind of does the whole brings it back to nostalgia a little bit. But I felt awkward watching it. It didn't feel natural. But like I said, my mind, I was like, I don't know if this is kind of cringy a little bit. But then when we get to see what this guy jets out of the audience, tackles another guy, and goes, "That's my wife," or whatever.
Yes.
She runs. We got to get out of here. Back to Charlie.
Yes.
And she wakes up.
Get me out of here. And then, we go to like a flash of a white room and her looking in a mirror.
That made it.
Yeah, and she's definitely a different person there. I mean,
her hair looks different.
Yeah.
She doesn't like it's this. All these scenes with Audrey, it makes her look like she's dressing up like she used to, and her hair is still done up, and she looked normal, and she's like, "Who am I? Like, what am I?" Like she's got this bewildered look on her face, like. Were we right? Was she in some sort of coma? Where is she? What's going on?
I think I mentioned about the nut house, the idea that
white room. I mean, that would really indicate.
Right. And I think she was wearing white as well. So.
But why would a nut house have a mirror? You wouldn't give that to someone crazy.
Yeah.
But we'll find out.
We'll have to find out.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm glad to know that she really isn't in this world with this guy, because it was so awkward. It was so weird for weeks. And then this whole convoluted storylines. So here's the thing is how many of these Roadhouse scenes that we've seen at the end of these parts are actually real?
I think this last one wasn't real.
Okay, because I'm going with it. There might be almost all of them aren't real.
I won't go with that theory only because James has a fight.
James is not real either.
No, but James has a fight during one of those Roadhouse scenes.
Yes.
And the girl screams during a Roadhouse scene. And she's
in the mental hospital too.
I'm kind of with you in a lot of this because I thought the same thing. Remember at the beginning how I felt the Roadhouse was some purgatory
You
wasp?
did, right?
And I was like, is it this other world?
Yep.
What if? Let's play the what if game. Let's go with your theory. Let's go with the fact that what if the Roadhouse this entire time was just giving us an insight to Audrey's head?
Yes. I mean, we have questions that we wanted to go into, and you bring up. Do you want to mention that your thing about Audrey for?
Is she the dreamer?
Is she the dreamer?
Can you imagine if Audrey was the dreamer? That they were all living in this dream.
I hope she has a happy ending dream.
Yeah.
My question for next week is I want her to at least meet with Cooper. I want her to come back, and I would love it if they embraced and lived happily ever after.
That's not going to happen.
I know that.
Stop.
All right. So it won't happen, but at least please have a scene where real Cooper and real Audrey are able to reconnect and just give me something, because I've been waiting 25 years for them to be able to.
I don't know if we're going to get that.
Come on.
We got 2 hours. I don't know. What else?
Make time for that.
Okay, so Cooper has to come back to Twin Peaks, reunite with everybody, save Audrey from her crazy nut house, and fight off something in 2 hours?
Yep.
This is good.
I just need a minute.
Action-packed.
I'm trying to think of what kind of how they would respond to each other. But even if it's just a look at each other.
You know what? I think you're right, because if we find out Mr. C had anything to do with Audrey, I feel like they have to see each other some way, somehow.
I always think originally they should have had Audrey be the one, not the Annie, where Audrey should have won the Miss Twin Peaks contest. She should have been the one that was brought to the lodge.
So Look, I like the theory that, let's say, almost all the Roadhouse stuff was Audrey. I think it could work, minus a few things.
Yes.
The fight scene doesn't work, but the fight scene, actually, the fight scene can work because it was easy top playing. There wasn't even a band.
Yeah, it was skipping.
It was skipping, like...
Who knows? I know. It'll be interesting to see
how this all works out. Is Audrey the dreamer?
Is she the dreamer? And the other thing I want to say, I forgot to say with Bushman, so there's a scene where they're still in the hospital with Cooper, and Cooper's saying what a great guy he is, and they shake hands.
Yeah.
And it just brings me back to that scene where Bushman was trying to shake Dougie's hand, and Dougie's like having trouble moving his arms around and not figuring out how to
trying
shake
to copy him.
But I love the idea that you finally get that kind of respect for each other. Like Cooper is back, and he's able to shake his hand and say, you're a great guy and stuff. And I thought that was... I could kind of look back on that and say they should have shook hands earlier, but Dougie couldn't interact. Like he's all grown up. Cooper's back 100%.
Cooper's back. What a great episode. I mean,
it's one of my favorite. It's really the top of the...
I agree. It just, like we said before, a part of me wishes we got to the Cooper stuff sooner. I don't know until this is over to really critically think about what could have been without knowing how it ends.
Yeah.
But if I were to say right now, I felt like Cooper could have came back at least 2 episodes ago.
Right. It's funny. I'm okay now that I've got him. Now that I finally see him, it's kind of been worth it. And I kind of think, let's say they had just done a movie, a Twin Peaks movie, it would have only been 2 hours long. Like if I went to a theater to see that. So I'm still getting my 2 hours movie of Cooper.
That's true.
But I agree. I mean, it's unfortunate. But Kyle MacLachlan has given an incredible performance as Mr. C and as Dougie.
Well, he was Cooper, though. Like you kept saying, that really was Cooper.
Yeah, I swear I still listen to podcasts where I feel like
But we say it too. We say Dougie.
I know, but sometimes people literally think that he's almost quantum leaping into people, and I'm kind of like, that is Cooper. Like, that is Cooper.
But we just say Dougie because it's
easier
name.
because it is so confusing because everybody around him calls him Dougie. But
exactly.
He's always been Cooper.
Yeah,
and he proved that when he was able to wake up and know what was going on, and loved it. So we have our questions that we think need to be answered for
next week.
This
Sunday.
This Sunday. It's
only a couple days ago.
Oh my god!
Today's Thursday.
Yes, I didn't tell you. My wife has been very nice, and she's going to make me a cherry pie.
She told me. She told me
the cherry pie that we had. What was it? I can't remember. What was it? Christmas? I think
our Christmas episode.
Yes. So I think it's bourbon or something.
Yes, there's alcohol in it. You're going to be drunk.
Yes.
But before it's over, you're going to pass out.
No.
You got a hangover. Twin Peaks hangover.
I'll wake up and it'll be like, Bryon, can you believe that ending?
No. Penn will be passed out.
Do you want to start with and then we'll go back and forth and talk about our questions?
Yeah, we'll just go back and forth. You want to go first? You want me to go first?
I'll let you go first.
Well, will we see Red again? Because this is a mysterious character who's
been bringing drugs into the town.
We've seen him 3 times. Yeah. We saw him in the very beginning.
Right.
We saw him meet up with Richard.
Yep.
And then we saw him with Shelley.
Yes. And
he was actually, I thought he would have a bigger role.
There's so many characters on the show that you think are going to have a bigger role in this.
I feel like they're setting up a season 4 if it were to happen with these characters that we're not getting much of.
I don't know.
We talked to Joel about this before. How we're getting these world building. We might not get payoffs for everybody because those payoffs could just happen never or in season 4.
But all the bad guys so far have been killed off, or they've wrapped them up. I feel like.
What about Red?
So my question that I think needs to be answered is: will Bobby, Briggs, and Shelley get back together again? And the reason that the way they will get back together is how they resolve Red. So Red has his storyline, and he definitely has to be involved with the drugs. Maybe that's why Chad was wrapped up so quickly. We had the whole Chad getting arrested because the real bad guy is Red.
So if Bobby arrests Red, then Shelley might be like, bless you, you're an amazing man.
Or he might see Red for who he really is. I do still think that with Shelley seeing Norma and Ed back together, I really feel like she's like, wow, that is true love. And like this.
There's no hope for Shelley. Come on. She's been around the block.
Oh, you didn't go there, dude. No, Bryon is calling Shelley a whore, I think.
No, I'm not saying that. I'm just saying Shelley's been with the bad guys this long, and how does she not know?
Yeah.
It's disappointing. I'm a Shelley fan. Okay. I love Shelley.
Shelley is moved by Norma and Ed, and I believe that she will go back to Bobby.
I hope so. I hope you're right.
Yeah. And so I think I really think they've been incredible how some of these storylines that they've been able to wrap up very quickly. So I think you could do it in 2 minutes. You have a scene where Red does something stupid and Shelley realizes and it's all wrapped up.
Yeah,
but I think that they deserve, these characters, Shelley and Bobby, deserve another scene.
I agree.
In the end there.
Okay, we got to find out who is Judy. We didn't find out this episode, but I feel like the final episode might give us the answer.
I agree. I mean, if they didn't want to talk about Judy,
why are we talking about Judy?
Why are we talking about Judy?
Exactly.
So they definitely set it up with Agent Jeffries there talking about Judy, and the fact that we know who that Cooper has met Judy before. I feel like we need a payoff for that. We deserve it. It's been 25 years since Fire Walk with Me,
and we're torn between Major Briggs and Nader or Laura Palmer.
I do love John Thorne's theory about Laura Palmer. It's tough. I go back and I know. So here it is. I think we have got 4. Diane, who could also be Nadeau. Major Briggs is cool just because he's Garland Briggs and Julie Garland, Wizard of Oz. That could be kind of cool. And it could be kind of cool to code name Judy.
Yeah.
And what was the Laura Palmer?
See, I'm torn about Laura still. I feel like Laura can't be everything, but she ultimately could be. I could be, I mean...
And the fact that she's a mystery for this whole season, like we've only saw her in part 2.
Yeah.
So I feel like it'd be kind of cool for her to come back and she's been... But yeah, I don't know.
She's everything.
She's everything.
She's everything. What we got next on our list?
And then I want to say, so we have this person pretending to be Agent Jeffries. So we need an answer of who is this person that's been pretending to be Agent Jeffries.
Yeah, is it Albert? Was it...
And the only reason at first I liked Albert, but he says to Mr. C in the motel that we're going to get back together with Bob. Like, I want Bob back, and we...
Was it Sarah Palmer?
Maybe, or I really think Mike the Spirit, one-armed man there, seems like the most logical.
Yes.
What if all along he wasn't as good and helpful? I don't know.
No. I honestly believe that Mike has been playing into a lot of these things to get Bob back. He needs Bob back in there.
Right.
He's good.
He could still be good, but he still thinks that we got to stop the evil.
Yes.
Yeah. So,
he wants Bob back. And I like that theory.
To me, it still makes the most logical sense because Mike has been all along been doing stuff to basically strategize and figure out how to make sure good wins. And all along, Mr. C has been doing, and they seem like the big...
Do you feel like this is one gigantic chess game?
Yes. 3D chess or something.
Game.
I can't
is it real? It's like a big chess game because you have Mike playing the pieces against Mr. C, who for 25 years has been playing this... planting the seeds and playing these pieces.
Yes.
So.
I don't know if you've already responded to that, really, but...
Oh, yes. Will we see or hear what happened to the real Diane? I hope we get a moment of Cooper talking to Diane through his tape recorder.
That would be good.
That would be cool.
Yeah, it's funny because we were going back and forth before the show talking about this, and I think you wrote to me, "Here, Diane." It's like, why is Bryon saying "here"? But now that you're saying that, I know exactly what you're saying. You're saying that that this whole thing with the tape recorder, all along it was only Cooper that was giving the messages. But wouldn't it be cool if we only heard Diane responding to the real Cooper and stuff? So yeah, it would be nice to have some kind of interaction with the Diane and Cooper one last time.
And even, I want to know exactly what happened to the real Diane.
Yes. And I want to know what was the purpose of the glass box.
I could say my theory, and it seems like a lot of people's theory, was to somehow for Mr. C to use that glass box to summon Cooper or allow him to stay out.
Oh, it's funny you were going there. I would say it was to summon the mother. It was to summon the
Oh, well, I don't think he wanted the mother to come out because the mother's going to want Bob back. I always felt it was a box to capture Cooper to allow him to stay in the real world and Cooper I don't know.
Maybe.
I don't know. Because I feel like why would he want Mother to come out looking for him? I think Mother got out somehow.
Interesting.
I don't know.
And then we go back to that card with Daria, and he says, "You know what this is."
Yeah.
I always wondered.
Maybe you're right. Maybe he wanted Mother to come out, and that would allow him to stay out because it would be a cat and mouse game. Like,
I don't know.
If he killed Mother, would he allowed to stay out? Would he be able to stay out the whole time?
Or he just have pure evil with him. Maybe he just wants. I don't
yeah.
know. But yeah, so I still feel like
Complicated.
there's some answers about that glass box.
I do
hope.
agree.
It looks like I have you can take either one there.
All right. Will we learn of Harry Truman's fate? Will we see him? I don't think we're gonna see him.
Yeah.
No, but I think
I want to believe we're gonna see. I feel like we need to have some surprise. We either need to see Michael O'Keefe, or we need to see Heather Graham as Annie. I feel like we deserve one little surprise that was not part of the cast that we weren't expecting.
it's gonna be David Bowie playing.
That would be amazing.
No, I mean, I think this final episode, we might not get another Roadhouse thing until the very end. It might be Julie Cruz.
It's got to be Julie Cruz. It's got to be Julie.
But I don't know if he would show up. But I feel like we're going to get a positive. I feel like he's not going to die. Like, we think he's sick. I think he's going to fight whatever he has, cancer or something.
Yeah.
And I think we're going to hear good news.
I hope so.
But maybe we see a photo of him.
Right.
I don't know.
And do you think
Maybe
we've had so many different passings? Are we going to have a Margaret funeral? Are we going to have? We've talked about having all these people come together again. It would be wonderful to have all the cast, all the Twin Peaks people come together for maybe in honor of the Log Lady.
Ooh, and you end it that way?
Yeah,
Ooh, that would be nice.
That would be.
Yeah.
It's gonna be a dance. I think about Inland Empire. No.
But what if? But what if everybody comes together one last time and it is Cooper's funeral?
No.
I don't know if they can end it like that.
And I have one more about Linda. So we had the whole Richard Linda thing from the fireman and Cooper, and I do think we should still find out what was that all about. Like, what was the point of
Linda? Yeah.
Yeah.
I got a few more.
You do?
Yeah, just a couple, real quick. I wrote this. Was Richard made to be disposable? And I kind of talked about this before.
Yeah. So was this like a 25-year strategy?
This is what I'm saying. I feel like Mr. C has been planting these seeds physically and mentally and all these different things for the last 25 years. I will still say, I'm putting the foot down here. I think he did something to Audrey. I don't think she was impregnated. I think he grabbed her DNA, and I think that he created Richard. And I feel like he created Richard because it would have his DNA, her DNA, and it allowed him to use Richard for his evilness.
Yeah.
Like, Richard was a bad seed, and he did bad things, and he deserved to die. But I feel like Mr. C knew that he could use him as a pawn later on.
Yeah.
I don't know. I feel like he was just a disposable son. He wasn't made for functioning.
It's funny, I've been thinking about this, and you think of stories like Return of the Jedi, you have Darth Vader, Luke Skywalker, and Darth Vader's downfall in some ways was that he did love his child, and that like his love for Luke kind of made him become good in some ways, and you think about something Mr. C's like he could care less about his son, he could care less about evil. That's pure evil. To not even have a heart enough of your own flesh and blood. So I mean, like it doesn't get any more evil than that. There's no real weakness for Mr. C really. Like you can't even he doesn't even care about his own son.
Yeah, and here we'll go dark here. Okay, so what if he raped Diane. So he is possible that he could have raped Audrey. Yeah. No doubt. She could have had that baby in the coma. Now, there's this movie, not a very good movie that came out a while ago, Sucker Punch. It's questionable if it's good.
I've seen the trailers. It looked like a really cool stylistic film, and I keep
great trailer. This is not a very fun movie. The movie is ultimately about these women who go into this asylum,
yeah.
But the doctor is raping them. Oh. So then they go into their mind to escape it.
Yes.
And it almost becomes Inception.
See, the concept sounds very intriguing, very interesting.
It's very
I want
dark.
to believe it's feminist. Like there's a strong...
Yeah. I mean, there's a strong message there. But see, this one woman, every time she's abused, she would create this world in her head so she can escape the abuse.
Yes.
And I'm wondering if this is sort of the same thing with Audrey.
Yeah, but I haven't seen that film, but I love that she's a warrior, that she takes on all of these things. Is it in the dream world there? See,
Yes.
Yeah, right. So I love the idea that it seems
They're
like
conquering these
Right.
things in this world, and it goes deeper and deeper into their minds while these horrible, horrific things are happening to their body. And I'm wondering about Audrey, if it's the same thing where she was raped and she went into shock, and she's kind of living in her own brain to escape it.
Yes.
And we're seeing her with Charlie trying to get out. I want out of my own head. And I feel like we got that moment where she's looking in the mirror and she's finally snaps out of it. And she's
Right.
out. That's kind of where I'm going with that.
Yeah, it sounds really good.
Yeah, I mean, Sucker Punch, it's an all right movie.
Yes.
It's weird. It's some, check it out if you want to have this weird Inception thing going.
That is it. Do you have any other?
No, I
questions
think
you wanna
that's it. I mean, I just can't believe we're going to be going into the very last 2 hours this
I can't
Sunday.
believe it either. Wow, what a long, strange trip it's been.
Oh my God, Ben, I can't believe it. And I don't know. Whatever happens, I know we're all going to be hopefully very satisfied by all this.
Yes.
And we're going to walk out and we'll have another 25 years to talk about,
I'm excited. It's very
I know.
exciting. I mean, and to have Cooper going into this, at least to have the real Cooper, you can't ask for anything more than that.
Yeah, I mean...
Oh, and that
Yeah.
music too. Like, so you have him wake up and he says, I am the FBI," and to have the theme music going in there, that was so awesome.
Yes,
That
it was so cool.
oh.
I know here the old Twin Peaks music.
Right.
It had the very home feeling, and with him in the limousine talking to the Mission Brothers, and they're getting drinks, and
Right. I love it. It's like, you're telling me that you're not an insurance salesman. You're with the FBI. You've been missing for. It was funny. It was good.
It was so great. But before we get into community feedback, Ben, I want to remind everybody we have all our Fire Walk with Me. We have shirts, we have mugs, we have stickers, we have cell phone covers. We have anything you want that we can throw a image on in our TeePublic merch store, and the link is in our show notes.
Very cool. And it was great to see Josh from the Red Room and our friend Ben Bino wearing our logo shirt.
Josh got one?
Yeah.
I saw the Beano one.
I saw Josh got one too.
Oh,
it was awesome.
nice.
Yeah, he actually said, supporting all these different podcasts, but he was wearing our shirt. So it was very cool.
I gotta
Thank
check that
you
out.
guys.
Yes,
That was awesome.
thank you. That's so cool. Yeah, I saw Beano's. He got it, and I mean I forget her name, so excuse me. I don't know if she listens, but the girl who created the Over the Top T-shirt, which is selling very well. She ordered one herself, and she posted it on Facebook.
Aww.
And she's like, "Look what I made!"
That's awesome.
So that was so cool.
And this money, part of it goes to us, which it goes right back into the show.
Yeah.
And if an artist designed the shirt, money goes to them. So I mean, it's really a great thing for everybody who's buying the stuff on the store. Thank you.
Yeah, we appreciate it, and there's sales always going on. I don't think there's a sale going on right now, but
I feel like there'll be sales.
There's always sales.
I mean, get it now if you want to support us, but I'm sure in a few weeks or a week or who knows, there'll be more sales coming.
Yeah. Also, we're gonna rotate, so I'm not gonna make a guarantee that some of these logos are always gonna be up there.
Right.
So if you
we had a Dougie shirt that's gone now.
Oh, not yet.
Oh, it's still there?
It's going to be gone at the end of the season. The Dougie Limited T-shirt will be gone probably Monday after the show's over. So get it now. Yeah, get it now. The Firewalk with Me stuff's up there. The Over the Top, that might be limited for, I don't know. It's very popular. It might be up there for a little bit longer. But still, we're going to rotate. We're not going to keep the same things up there. And so just get them while they're hot. And
Cool.
we appreciate the business.
Yeah.
So Ben, we got community feedback, and this is going to be our first community feedback from YouTube. We've really got ourselves a little group of people on the YouTube community. Seem like very nice people. They've corrected us when we were wrong on a couple things. I will talk about this first before we go into community feedback.
Well, before you mentioned YouTube.
Yeah.
At the end of this part 16, they're playing this there's music going on.
Yeah.
There's music going on in the guitar in the Roadhouse, and it's backwards.
Yeah, they play the thing backwards,
which is so cool. I think it's more of Audrey's dance or something like that. Yes.
Yeah.
But then I swear I hear a secret message, and I have to reverse it, and I swear it's David Lynch again yelling something. And first I thought he said number 2. Some people think it's Cooper 2, but it definitely sounds like he's saying something 2.
I tried to listen. I couldn't hear it.
You couldn't hear it, yeah?
No.
I'm crazy then.
No, in the comments, people were saying what they heard.
It's at the very big. So I put it up on YouTube on our channel.
Yeah.
Because I thought, hey, maybe some people would have some feedback and share stuff. I thought it said something about
I love it.
too.
I love that you can put something up there and the people on YouTube just have a lot of fun with it.
And someday when I have some time, I'm now wondering, is it possible that Lynch has been putting messages in every show? Because recently we're starting to see more of these.
They could be happy accidents. They really could just be nothing. It just could be him directing. And
right, and he
left it in the mix.
It's backwards, so who cares, right?
Yeah. Or we don't know. There's so many possibilities with him. Also, I want to point out, people on YouTube and Facebook, we got comments saying, yes, people can be pregnated and have a child while in a coma. So I stand corrected. I just made an educational guess thinking, how can the body do such a thing, and if it's in a coma?
Right.
But I'm 100% wrong. Someone shared an article about this woman who actually she was pregnant, went into a coma, and actually she gave birth while in the coma. She woke up 10 days later and her baby was born.
Amazing.
And then there was another story that that I'm going to read in community feedback here. I'll call her AV. I'm not going to mess up the person's name like I always mess up someone's name. But they wrote on YouTube, since you all discussed this, my grandmother was a registered nurse at East Louisiana State Hospital in the late 1970s. And, they were driving home. She said, I must have been 8 or 9. We'd always talk about grown-up stuff on long drives to New Orleans to visit my cousins. She told me of a female patient who fell down some stairs and went into a coma. A little over a year, her belly started to grow noticeably. It was clear that either one of the other patients or staff members impregnated her.
Wow.
And she was in this coma state. She asked about the baby. She said that the baby grew to term and was fine and went to live with the family. So as horrid as raping someone in a coma sounds, it has been done. And the body can't perform some normal functions, even when the brain is damaged.
Wow. So
it just might be what happened on Twin Peaks, but we will soon find out. And yes, we will find out next week.
Sunday.
If this is Audrey's case.
Yeah.
I don't know. So yeah, we were wrong, but I mean, I'm glad people told us, because I would never.
It is crazy to think that, like you're you wouldn't think the body could do that.
I know.
It's incredible.
It is very incredible. That is it for community feedback, Ben. We do have a special guest today.
We're on the phone with Joel Bako, the man, the myth, the guy who does LostInTheMovies.com. He does these amazing video essays. Hey, Joel.
Hey, guys.
So we had to get you back on right before the end of the series. How are you doing? How are you feeling about this this coming to a conclusion of Twin Peaks?
It's exciting, and it's kind of like, in a weird way, I feel like I'm less, I don't know if sad is the right, maybe I'll feel differently once it's really over. But I feel less like kind of like here's the end and everything, because it feels, I've loved watching it live and not knowing and waiting the weeks in between. Like, it's a new experience for me.
Yeah.
But it also, like, I think I was kind of romanticizing it in a way ahead of time. Like, there's going to be like nothing like this way of watching it. You know, it's going to be, because I watched all of the original Twin Peaks just closely in a couple weeks on DVD. So I'm like, this is going to be like, I don't even know if I'm going to want to like discuss it. Just like sit with it each week and let it like wash over me like this dream. And it's the real show, I think the Diane podcast said this, it's not really like that. Like, it's a real thing. So it's like, parts of it are dreamlike, parts of it like you struggle with, parts of it you're excited with, and parts of it you just want to rewatch right away. So it's the thing for me is it's going to end on Sunday, and that part of that experience is gone. That will never come back, the watching it for the first time. And that is great.
Right.
But it's also made me realize how much I do love what I've had with Twin Peaks, which is having the whole thing to wrestle with.
Yeah.
So I'm kind of excited to see it reach that point. Just as much as I'm excited to see it for the first time, I'm excited to have this whole thing now and be able to kind of engage with it that way. That's going to be a whole new experience. And I feel like that's going to be at least, I don't know how long you guys are planning on doing your thing, but I feel like for at least the next 6 to 9 months, I'm going to have a lot of Twin Peaks stuff to do. So
definitely,
it's almost like a beginning in a way.
Right. Yeah, I agree. I mean, we're definitely talking about at least going to the end of the year. I mean, we definitely feel really pumped about this. We can do interviews till 2018, and then we have to reevaluate the show. And
we could go a little strong in the beginning of next year and then kind of, spread it out some.
Right. And Joel, I hope we could do some Lost in Twin Peaks with you, Joel.
Yeah, we got to bring that segment back.
I love that.
Yeah.
I love that.
Definitely.
Yeah. Oh, it's so good. And you've been... Were you going to say, Joel?
I was just going to add that talking about how, being a new beginning and not having the whole thing to grapple with, it's almost more than that in a way, because we're not just waiting for like one more piece, like 1/18 of the total. It really, even though this was a much more even production than the original Twin Peaks, I still feel like so much is going to be packed into the end that it is going to be a little similar to the finale in Firewalk with Me, where those carry so much of what we make of the original Twin Peaks.
Yeah,
I think these last 2 hours are going to do that as well in their own way.
Oh, I agree.
A lot to be done.
Bryon and I had put together like around 10 questions that we felt needed to be answered. And you think about this, like, oh my gosh. I mean, there's even more than that. But I was like trying to say, okay, let's talk about
I'm sure some of them won't be.
Yeah, so it's kind of like, oh, can we resolve Shelley and Bobby? Can we resolve what's this glass box? What's going on with... I mean, there's so many different things going on, and you're like, how are they going to get to it all? Are they going to go back to talking about Truman and like what happened to Harry Truman? Yeah, there's a lot. I feel like it's going to be a very fast pace, these last 2 parts.
Definitely.
And so you've been on lostinthemovies.com. You've been doing it every week, right? You've been posting your blog. Has it been like the same night, or it seems like within the next day that you've been posting these?
Yeah, usually within a few hours.
Wow.
I go straight from watching it to writing. The only time I couldn't do that was part 10. I had to wait till the next morning just because I was out in California for a cousin's wedding, and I managed to watch it more or less live, but there was stuff going on. It was after the wedding, but there were still gatherings and dinner and stuff like that, so I had to wait till the next morning. But other than that, they've all gone up that night.
Yeah, and I like that, in your latest blog post for part 16, you mentioned Mulholland Drive, and you mentioned Audrey Goes to Hollywood. She was originally going to have her own series and stuff, and I like that whole thing. Can you talk a little bit more about what your thoughts about Audrey right now?
Yeah. I mean, that was quite an ending, so what do we make of that? I was just thinking about that. There's like a few possibilities. Clearly, whatever reality she's in that last few seconds is different from the reality she was in before.
Yeah.
What that means exactly, if it's a magical thing, if it's a hallucination or a dream, we don't know. But yeah, exactly. I think I'll be shocked if it's not playing on that trope, because when you see somebody, even though that's not really how like a mental health clinic looks, like that's the stereotype for film, is like an all white place with white walls and white. So it's like, I think either that or some sort of other dream realm.
Yeah.
And something like that. Right. I think that's what it's going to be.
And there's some of these characters, these minor characters, have had scenes in the Roadhouse where they're talking about Nut House or something. And so there's definitely been talk about it. Do you think, Bryon and I were talking about this, do you think that means all the Roadhouse is not real? Or
It's been in Audrey's head.
has it been all in Audrey's head the whole time?
I think there's a few possibilities. One is that only her scenes have been in her head with her and Charlie, and then the last one in the Roadhouse. The other possibility is all of the Roadhouse scenes, but nothing else, have been in her head. And then the third possibility is like everything's been in her head.
Oh,
and
no.
I kind of don't. Yeah, I
Yeah,
don't
we don't want
really
that,
think
but, yeah.
they're going for that. I mean, I think they might end up doing something like that, but not with Audrey. Like it seems, if anything, this would be like a dream within a dream or something. Because
Yes.
I think she's way more important to the return than people kind of thought she was going to be. Knowing that she wasn't in that much, and that
Right.
maybe there were some difficulties getting her on set and stuff like that. I think she's definitely turned out to be more crucial than people expected. But
I
I
agree.
still don't think they talk about in episode or part 14 or whatever, who is the dreamer. I don't think it could be Audrey, just because if this is anybody's story, it's probably Cooper's or Laura's. The only other character I could see becoming kind of somebody who's envisioning or controlling all of this would be Sarah Palmer, just because some of the stuff that's happened.
Yeah.
And plus, she's related to Laura, so it's still within that Cooper-Laura thing.
Right.
I think as important as Audrey is, I don't think she could be dreaming, envisioning the whole thing. So yeah, I think probably the Roadhouse stuff, maybe it depends how obvious they kind of want to get with it, because Lynch likes to keep things somewhat ambiguous, but I think this show has also shown it's not afraid to be kind of on the nose sometimes.
Yeah.
So it could be that it's like other inmates or other patients. It's inmates. It's like Arkham Asylum or something I'm talking about. Other patients there who are like, she's overhearing their conversations and they're mixing with her own, or that might be a little on the nose, but something like that, or just stuff in her own head.
Yeah,
I think that's where it's going, and I feel like. Or sorry, go ahead.
Oh no, I was just gonna say I like your idea about the ambiguity. If this ended where we had to keep guessing, and we'll never know really what was in her head or not. I like that idea.
And do you think there's some more surprises along the way for this last final? Like, I keep wondering about Candy there.
Yeah.
Like, could she be Laura Palmer?
Yeah.
Or could she be another character that's waking up? Like, I don't know. She feels like a girl version of Dougie to me.
Yeah,
It's like
yeah.
she repeats the same things that people say.
She was saying the weather reports for some reason. She's
Right.
talking about the air conditioning.
Which seemed to me, we've talked about this, I think, before, she watches TV, too. So it's almost like she's been watching stuff and then responding to it about the weather.
Yeah, very odd.
I mean, if I had to guess, I don't think there's going to be a twist with her. I think she's just kind of going to remain this ambiguous character.
Yeah.
Because I do think a lot of stuff, anything that they don't have to answer, I kind of don't think they will.
There isn't much time, right? Yeah.
There's a few things. I kind of feel like we are going to find out more. Either we'll find out more about the glass box, or we'll see something with the mother or something that just retroactively kind of tells us.
Yeah.
I think we'll find out who the billionaire was, because there was no reason to throw that out there if they're not.
I think it was
answer.
Mr.
It's
C.
not it doesn't add atmosphere or anything really.
Right.
It's just yeah.
I was thinking, I agree. I thought I thought it was Mr. C because we get that picture of him with that pool and that nice home.
In Florida or whatever.
Right,
Yeah.
So it's kind of like, Miami Vice.
It was like Grand Theft Auto,
Yeah.
Mr. C there.
Yeah. So
And with his electronic skills, he could tap in. But I mean, it's kind of funny to think of a billionaire just scuzzing around on these back roads with his gang of hooligans.
Well, it seems like maybe he was living the life for 20 years.
Yeah.
And then the last few years, he was like, okay, I got to get dirty and get
under the radar.
Yeah, under the radar. Yep.
And what do you think about this Diane, the reveal of Diane?
Yeah.
And she's a doppelganger, a tulpa.
Yeah, that was an amazing scene. So I don't know. I feel like she's more. I think they're making a distinction between doppelgangers and tulpas.
Ah.
I'm not sure if they are, but it seems like Dougie was more of a tulpa, and the doppelganger obviously is a doppelganger. I'm not sure that's what they're going with.
It's hard to tell.
I agree with that, Joel. I do. Because
she seemed more like Dougie. The fact that she.
Yeah.
he like evaporated, and he said the fact that he said that exact line, "You were manufactured for a purpose," is obviously meant to connect her to. I'm talking the real Dougie, not the Dougie Cooper that was kind of bumbling around.
No, you know what? You make a good point. I think doppelganger is like the it's the opposite of someone. It's like this evil, and then a tulpa would indicate this person's not evil. It's just someone who is made to be this person, to look like them and have the same memories, and it's like a clone. It's like a clone version of you.
Yeah.
I do agree with that.
Very interesting.
Yeah, and I really loved how they played that scene, because I think. And it's an interesting comparison, because with the Dougie, he just was sort of a sappy character. You know, you're not really sorry when he goes. You don't see him as having too much inner life. Just kind of being the slob who kind of, goes through life kind of ambling along. But with Diane, she's so much more sympathetic. And she seems to have really a presence of the previous Diane within her, which I certainly didn't get that sense from Dougie. So maybe it's like a third thing or something. I don't know. But that was, in some ways, I feel like for all the other cool, interesting, fun stuff that was in the episode, I feel like that was the strongest material, I thought. Everything with Diane, from when she got the text to when she, evaporates inside of the lodge. I thought that whole section was really powerful. And I think it's one of the few times that we've seen the return get into some of the stuff in Lynch's later work, which usually has to do with women responding to their own trauma or something, that you see a lot of in Inland Empire.
Yes.
And obviously Firewalk with Me. And this was kind of the only time it got into that. And got into it in weird, kind of troubling ways. I mean, what you essentially have is you have a character talking to her, telling her coworkers that, her that one of their colleagues raped her, and then they shoot her. I mean, obviously there's more within the scene to kind of explain that, but that's what you have. So it's this very disturbing but powerful moment where I feel like it's one of the few moments, I think, in the series that's kind of doing what Lynch does at his best, where he takes some sort of psychological phenomenon, like the way something feels, and then he turns it into story material in a very surreal way, where it's partly kind of metaphor, partly kind of its own thing, and it's hard to pin down that way.
Yeah.
So the whole thing was very Lynchian.
Very.
Yes.
I agree. And you wonder about Diane. I always wondered, has she always been this way? 25 years ago, was she always saying "fuck you" to everybody? Or now that we have a more understanding of what the trauma she went through, is she saying that because, hey, Gordon Cole, you weren't there, and Albert, you weren't there, and I got raped by basically her boss? I mean, if she kind of looks at it as Cooper as somebody that she reported to, and I don't know. You question that. It was such a great scene, though. I mean, that music and the whole thing, and the intensity of it. Her looking at the gun in her purse, and it was a great scene, really good. And to end with her in the red room with Mike and saying, "Hey, you were manufactured." She's like, "I know, fuck you."
Yeah, she was self-aware.
Yeah, that was great. That was so good.
Yeah, she was self-aware of her being made,
right?
Which was interesting.
And we were talking about how Dougie doesn't seem to be maybe like the real Cooper, but in a way, Dougie is half of Cooper and then copied over. So you mean, because I'm guessing Mr. C probably. I'm thinking Mr. C manufactured him. I would think.
Yeah, I think so too.
So if it's if we split Cooper in half and we have Mr. C, I mean, I don't really know if that's true, but I think he's been split in half.
Yeah, that's what I was gonna say, though.
Yeah.
Keep going.
No, that's it, though. I think that idea that Cooper and Mr. C have split in half, so you only now have Mr. C to make a copy of himself or manufacture Dougie. That's why maybe Dougie doesn't have that same quality of
That's a good
Cooper.
point.
Yeah.
Yeah. So here's what I wanted to say about that is, up until this episode, I feel like we've had sort of suggestions that Mr. C isn't half of Cooper, but everything concrete we've had kind of pointed to that. And maybe concrete's not the right word, but like that image from the dream where the two of them split and reform, or reform and split.
Yeah.
You see them, so it's like they're like equal parts of the whole. And
Right.
then the interviews Lynch gave and Lynch on Lynch, and the way he talks about it, and the way John Thorne, and I would say myself as well, have kind of viewed this idea of like the doppelganger as the shadow, meaning like sort of a part of the whole, and Cooper can't face that, and now he's split. I have to say though, and I prefer that theory. I think that's far more dramatically and psychologically compelling. I have to say though, after part 16, I don't know that that's really tenable. It seems like they're running with the idea that the Cooper out in the world is the full Cooper,
Right.
and Mr. C is like this sort of bad echo.
Yeah.
You know, so it'll be interesting to see where they go with that. I've always wondered if they're going to do that, and they put off doing it till now with the whole Dougie thing.
Yeah.
But here we are. If they're going to do that, how do they make that resonant? Because it can be fun to watch, but at the end of the day, if it just ends with like good Cooper defeats the bad copy, I don't know where that really leaves us in terms of like interesting character insight or just something you can take from it the way you can take from other Lynch stuff. So I'm very curious to see how they do that.
Yeah, it's funny going into this series. I felt like what you and John Thorne have said. I felt like, Cooper's gonna have to wrestle with the bad things he's done, but thinking that Mr. C is a part of him. But definitely this whole series has kind of been that these are two very separate people and they have different actions, and it doesn't seem to me that Cooper feels any responsibility for Mr. C.
Right.
But I don't think he knows.
And they flirted with both, I think.
Yeah.
Like they flirted with, because like I said, there were those times where you did feel like, oh, okay, they are split. Or like when Jeffries says, oh, you are Cooper. And there's been these little hints, but now, for the moment, they're running in a different direction. I think I still kind of suspect, I won't say expect, but I kind of suspect part 17 and 18 are going to pull some kind of twist, maybe not on the level of like a Mulholland Drive, but sort of pull back and change the context of everything we're seeing. And if it does do that, I think it would probably have something to do with that question of like, how are these two Coopers actually connected beyond just looking alike and everything?
Yeah, we have a theory. We have a sad theory of
Right. Well, right.
Yeah.
We're concerned that Cooper is going to have to sacrifice himself. Really, like he's the Christ figure. I guess.
Almost. Yeah, like he's because you have it's like a battle. You have Mr. C, you have Cooper, but you also have Sarah Palmer involved,
and probably Laura. Laura's got to show back.
And Laura's got to show up too.
Yeah, she will. I'm sure.
You have all these forces
with all the hints.
Yeah. So I mean, it could be pretty big. What's gonna go down, or how is it gonna go down?
That whole scene with Cooper taking his family over in the casino and having a talk. My concern is like that's a talk with the audience. He's telling the audience that like, hey, I've got to go. I got to do this, and it's kind of like, is this his way of almost saying goodbye? And I really hope they don't kill this character off. And I know this past week, Kyle was like, we're going to put away my suit and they're going to put it in the archives. But you never know. Maybe they'll bring it back. And it's like...
But if if this new Dougie's created, Cooper still lives on.
Yeah.
Right.
Because he has all the memories. And he's created from this good side of Cooper, not the Mr. C side, the bad side. But yeah, it's very interesting because our theories are going wild now.
Yeah.
And Joel, we only have a few minutes. I want any final thoughts that you have about the series, about what we might be getting into in the final, and Yeah,
I mean, I think, like I said, I suspect maybe they're gonna pull the rug out from under us, and honestly, I hope they do. I won't be shocked, and I'd almost put 50-50 odds on it. I would be a little disappointed, though, if they kind of conclude things sort of straightforwardly. Yeah. Like everything, other than whatever they're doing with Audrey, everything sort of stays within this one reality, and you have Cooper resolved with Mr. C in like the second hour of the two-part finale, and then somehow, they do something to sort of bring back Laura, because Leland said find Laura, and they show her picture at the beginning and all of this stuff. So they're setting up something with her. But if that's just kind of like the last punctuation, and it ends kind of, I don't want to say straightforwardly, because I'm 100% sure Lynch is going to do some wild stuff. He always does, especially in big moments like these. But I want the finale to just change our whole perception of it, the way that other Lynch stuff is done. And I'm not sure that's what he's going for with this, which is okay. Like, I'll still be happy with it, but I think the power of the ending we had of the finale and then Firewalk with Me was that it did just that. And I think they may be going for something a little more in a straight line, in a way, from what we've seen. If that makes sense.
And could they go with a happy ending? I mean,
I think in some sense it will be.
Yeah.
It's not gonna be like the end of season 2. I'm positive about that.
I hope not.
There'll be some sort of resolution. I mean, in terms of Cooper surviving, I think the funny thing is we're all kind of talking about how we want to see Cooper back, but really, I mean, what is his? He's 60 years old. I don't know how much longer he would be in the FBI anyways.
Yeah.
His friend Harry is sick. I won't be shocked if they show up in town and Harry's just died. Like, that seems like the only thing they could be setting up with all of these phone calls to Harry,
Yeah.
He doesn't have a family except for the one that he had as Dougie. It's like, I think, I don't know that there really is a huge future for him regardless. I just don't like it. I don't know. So I think either he is going to sacrifice himself, and this would be kind of the happy ending. It's almost like if he's creating this other double, that one goes on to stay with the FBI and he goes back to like Janie E and Sonny Jim as actually himself,
Yeah.
because he never had a family and all of that. It might be a little corny, but I don't know. They seem to be setting up that possibility.
But the funny way he says it to Janie E and his son there, he says like Dougie, and then he stops himself, basically saying he'll be back. So he seems to be, and she's saying, "Oh, you're not Dougie." So it seems to me, in his mind, it seems to be like you'll get Dougie back, but not me.
Not me.
Why would they want Dougie back?
Yeah, they want him.
It's him.
Yeah.
Even him as the kind of half there that he was as, quote unquote Dougie, they still preferred that to the original Dougie, who was pretty neglectful and hapless.
Yeah.
Well, I'm hoping that we get we got original recipe Cooper, and he plants a seed. Maybe it'll be more like himself than it would be from a Mr. C version of Dougie.
Do you think we'll get anything else with Richard, or was that? I mean, that's
we debated.
It was a good moment, but that was very anticlimactic.
Right?
I think he's dead.
Why did he have this whole long story arc just for that?
Well,
I'd be askance at that just a little bit.
Well, Richard and Linda, there was talk about Richard and Linda from the fireman at the very beginning. So I do kind of feel like he has to come back, or they have to somehow tie him in with Linda.
Yeah.
So
or he's in the lodge or something. I don't know.
Yeah.
And it's funny how he dies. He dies in a way that's almost like
we've never seen it before.
Yeah, he kind of like firecracker, like he just fades away.
Yeah.
I don't know. It's like,
I mean, it would be kind of funny in a sense if after all that that's just what happens.
Right.
But it didn't feel like a conclusion to that story.
I agree.
I think the one other thing of all the little side stories, I do want to know sort of what happened with Becky and Steven. If Steven's dead, if people are saying, oh, they think he killed Becky, and how would Bobby and Shelley do it? Like, I would like, I think that's one of the small sort of subplots that I actually feel invested in.
Yeah.
I think Becky's fine. I feel like Becky,
I'll be surprised if they killed her.
Yeah, I think he killed himself. But he was high on drugs, and I think he
seems to be saying that she being maybe Becky gave him drugs. It's weird. It's so hard to understand him, and I put the closed captioning on.
Yeah.
But it's kind of like, is he saying maybe Becky gave him these really powerful drugs? But I don't know. It's so hard to understand that last scene with him. What was going on?
Yeah.
But you're right. I feel like we need to see Becky one more time.
And Red too.
Yes.
Something's up with Red. I don't know what.
We're thinking that could be a wrap-up if Bobby ends up arresting Red, since they got Chad.
Oh, who needs to arrest him? Just like have a shootout.
Yeah, I don't think it's going to be an arrest. I think he seems like a figure who needs to be put down if anything's going to happen. Now, it wasn't Bobby and Red fighting in the Roadhouse when Audrey was there, because I thought the guy who ran up said Bobby.
I didn't hear that.
You were
No,
my
something
wife.
says it's like that's my.
I must have
that's my
misheard.
wife.
Yeah, that's my wife, but I don't even know
'Cause he
who they
didn't
were. Yeah.
He didn't look like Red, and
No, I don't
didn't
think
really
so.
see who he was attacking.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah.
okay.
Yeah, I don't know. I thought they had something to do with Audrey's little side drama series.
Right. It could have been. It could have been Chuck, or it could have been all. I'm not even gonna try to list all the names
Yeah,
of people.
Tina,
that,
Oh,
Tick.
yeah.
Billy, Bling,
The whole
Bing.
sideshow.
Yeah, who knows?
Oh man, what's so exciting? I can't wait. We're just a few days away from the finale.
Oh, I can't believe it.
Yeah. Well, Joel, I think we gotta go, but I hope we can have you on again soon, especially because I'd love to talk to you more about the final and kind of wrapping up
what
this up.
happened.
Yes, definitely.
Did you guys make predictions or anything on your part
We
of the
did.
show?
We did
or,
make predictions on today's show a little bit of what
Yeah,
we want to see.
or like what you want to see. Not
Right.
Yeah.
so much,
We
who
did
knows what you
questions
will
and
see.
kind of thing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Is there anything you want to
will-
see?
Yeah, I will still say I put this. Other people have been talking about. I put this out there. Like, it would be somewhat repetitive, so I'm not expecting it. But I've talked about Mulholland Drive so much in relation to this show. There just are a lot of interesting connections, sometimes more than to the original Twin Peaks. I wouldn't mind if he kind of pulls the same trick with Laura in the end, and her being Judy or something. Like,
Yeah.
I don't think he can have like her waking up on a pillow and like do the exact same thing, but in sense of like we reach some sort of conclusion or something with the Mr. C. Cooper early in part 17, and then the rest of the show somehow we cut away to this Judy figure. You know, it's who knows what we're gonna get, but it's
Right.
like if he's got to find Laura, and so she's somewhere out there in this world. She could be in another form, NATO or Candy, like people are saying, or something.
Yeah.
But I think he always likes to have Cheryl Lee play Laura and her surrogate. So
Right.
Yeah.
Somebody had this theory that so he manufactures another version of himself. We call him Dougie, and it's Dougie that goes off and finds Laura Palmer. So like they have Dougie going to do the investigation so that Cooper can focus on whatever he has to do in Twin Peaks. But like that they meet up so you can have
Oh
two
my
versions
God.
of. I think that was kind of clever.
It is like multiplicity. It really
a
is.
version of
Yeah.
I don't
Yeah.
think another thing is I don't think they're going to get that clever. Like they're doing unexpected things, but they're not really getting as clever as people predicted sometimes. Like
True.
they're not really going for that like like all the stuff, and I was one of them, is Vegas and alternate reality and all this
Yeah.
stuff. Like
Oh,
it
yeah.
turned out to be pretty much unfounded, I think.
Yeah.
And even the time stuff,
True.
I don't think that's any elaborate
No.
web of things. I think it's just he found the places to slot things in where they fit better rhythmically versus chronologically.
Yeah.
That's the sense I'm getting.
I agree, and I even from the beginning when we first saw Shelley in part 2, I was like, is that really Shelley? Are all these alternate versions of them? And they're not going that way at all. This is truly
No.
Twin Peaks. These are the characters we know and love,
Yeah.
and that's just it is. But yeah, it's funny. I think fans sometimes have greater
Imagination.
imaginations.
Yeah, our imaginations have definitely gotten the best of us during this series. But I think that's the fun. Even the original series.
Yeah.
You know?
Well, Joel, we gotta go, but can you tell people
All right.
how they can follow you and tell about your blog? And I love your video essay. Can you share about all this?
Sure. My video essay is Journey Through Twin Peaks. It's on YouTube. And my blog is lostinthemovies.com. And you can follow me on Twitter at lostinthemovies.
Awesome. Thank you, Joel.
Thank you, Joel.
All right. Thank you, guys.
Thanks, Joel Bako, for being on today's show. And thank you, everybody, for the feedback, the emails, the comments, the questions, the theories. We appreciate it. Next week is going to be a big week for us. We're very excited to talk about the final part, and we hope to have some surprise guests on.
Yeah, if we can do it, we can manage to do it. Who knows?
Yeah, who knows? It'll be a surprise.
Our schedules are crazy, but...
So like us on Facebook. We're well over 1,000. We're getting new likes every day. It's going to be sad to see our tradition of Sunday night posting and everybody goes crazy. So let's make this Sunday extra special.
And Bryon, with the show coming to a conclusion, I thought we should have our voicemail set up again for people if they want to leave a message. Say, how did you feel about the end of Twin Peaks? And you can call us at 866 886-9727. That's 866-886-UNWRAP.
And we'll probably play them when we do our episode with Mark from Deer Meadow.
Yeah.
We'll probably sprinkle them in there.
Yeah, so maybe in 2 weeks or so, we will put it on to, we'll have kind of a wrap-up of the whole series.
Our predictions and everything,
We'll try
yeah.
to see if we can get Mark back from Deer Meadow Radio back on the show. And
we'll play some of these messages.
Yeah, that'd be
Let's
awesome.
do it. So if you're frustrated or you're mad or you're happy, you're sad.
Or you still have your own theories about the show. We'd love to hear about it, so please leave us a message.
Yeah, that'd be awesome. I like that idea, Ben. So we got that happening. How's Twitter going, Ben?
Twitter is amazing. I mean, sometimes it's like
It's overwhelming.
It's overwhelming
So much.
stuff. Like
So
some of
much.
these people are now like I'm kind of like lumped in with a lot of people. And it's like there's like all kinds of exciting conversations going on.
I know.
but it's not hard to follow because like there'll be a conversation here and a conversation there. And
They
it's like,
split off.
Yeah, they're all.
It's great.
But it is. I love Twitter. They're good people there, and we have a great community. And I'm sure we'll be there well past the time that the show has ended. That we'll still be theorizing this show.
Yeah, and someone asked us on Facebook, what are our plans beyond the final episode? Well, I think Ben and myself, I don't know if we've discussed this on mic, but we plan to go weekly until at least 2018.
Yeah.
We don't know how far into 2018, but
Right.
for right now, we're going to stay weekly.
I think there's a lot still to talk about. I mean,
Yeah,
we're gonna
and
have
interviews.
Yeah, we're gonna have interviews. We're gonna try to do interviews every week if we can.
Mm-hmm.
We're gonna have Mark Frost's book,
Yeah.
and I feel like there's be plenty of stuff to talk about at least till the end of the year.
Exactly. Plenty. And we have our third annual best of episode's going to hit at the end of the year.
What will we do? Who knows?
Who knows?
Yeah.
We have ideas, I think. With that being said, if you haven't liked us and followed us, and now you can leave us a voice message. If that's not enough, you can email us at twinpeaksunwrapped@gmail.com. Send us a line, what's on your mind. We'd love to read those always. We appreciate it. And check out our merch store, support the show. And with that being said, I guess we'll let you guys go. We'll be back next week for the final part, 17 and 18.
Oh, it's been a great run. I'm excited. I'm pumped. I can't wait to see what Lynch and Frost have come up with.
Let's rock.
Let's rock.